and it's the NFC Championship game. So much to be excited about, so much to look forward to, and be excited. Be excited, everybody. We got to the NFC Championship game again. But before we get into all of it, hit the music. And once again, it is Peter Lucas. This is the Niner Fanatic Podcast. And before we do anything, let's make sure that you make sure that you give this show a subscribe, make sure that you hit the bell notification so that you get the notifications when we go live. And make sure that you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend so we can be friends every week. But let's get it going. Let's get started with it. We're going to start off with the injury reports right away, right? Because I want to get that out of the way. The reality is both of these teams are pretty healthy. Considering, I would say for the 49ers, it's so funny because we say that we're the healthiest that we've been all year, but we've got one, two, three, four, five, six starters that are out for the year on injured reserve. But we're still, because of the way this team has been built, the way that this team has been rolling all the way through the playoffs, we don't even we still look at it like the 49ers are just healthy. And then when you look over at the Eagles injury report, there's literally a bunch of backup guys and nobody on it. It's really kind of speaks to, once again, I talked about my last show with Rob, that it speaks to the culture, like this next man up culture that Shanahan has provided, and like the coaching for the 49ers, that they can just have that. They have so much depth, so many guys willing to take a step back that could probably be starting on other teams, and that somehow all these backups are built in, made into starters, and they make their own names for themselves throughout this season. And so, but let's get started. Jimmy Garoppolo's still out, and I mean, it is what it is. Elijah Mitchell's still questionable. I guess he's going to be a game time decision. And then you got Ambry that's also questionable to a lesser degree. I think the really important one is that Elijah Mitchell, because he didn't practice at all this week, and it is a groin injury. Groin injuries, I mean, it can be, if he tweaks that at all anymore this game, then even if the 49ers win, we may not see him in the Super Bowl. So it'll be really an interesting situation to see how the 49ers play this, because I mean, I think you have to have all hands on deck at this point, that we have to get to the Super Bowl. You can't be worrying about saving guys for the Super Bowl. But I'm interested to see what the carries are going to look like for each guy, because I mean, Christian McCaffrey did have a little tweak to his calf. I guess he's been dealing with it for weeks now, and they've found ways to manage it. And so I'm not too afraid of that per se. But I mean, if you go down the guys that the 49ers are missing, I mean, Trey Lance is a given. And we haven't seen him since the beginning of the season. Hassan Ridgeway was a big part of our run defense early on in the season. He's on injured reserve. Jason Verrett, I mean, we didn't really expect too much from him, but I mean, he went out again. I mean, did he even get to play? I don't think he got to play. Manuel Mosley is the big one for me. Like the not having Emmanuel Mosley, this defense looks completely different when Emmanuel Mosley is out there. And kudos to Diamador Lenore for stepping in and really kind of solidifying that spot, even after fans and everybody honestly has questioned him and targeted him throughout this season. But for him to play the way he's been playing the last couple of games, it's kudos to him. And and because he could have just, I mean, it could have just kept, he just kept trying to get better. So I think that's key. Also, Mo Hurst, that really he gets hurt quite often, and it's unfortunate for him because I don't know if he'll be back next season. But Philadelphia's injuries. I mean, Brett Toth is out. He might be their they're starting one of their stars. I've never heard of him. But you got Janarius Robinson, who I think he was a rookie defensive end. So, and he's on injured reserve. Sean Bradley, their linebacker, is on injured reserve. Tyree Jackson, one of their tight ends, is on injured reserve. Aaron said their punter is on injured reserve. Tua, I don't want to butcher his name, but Marlon, one of their defensive tackles, is on injured reserve, and then Derek Barnett, one of their defensive ends, is on injured reserve. So I mean, they do have a few guys that are out, some of their depth pieces, but let's make no mistake. Make no mistake about this game. Both of these teams are very healthy, very strong teams, and it's going to be really hard for either one to get really a leg up in this matchup. And I wanted to do this. I wanted to talk about something specific today because all we heard about is the comparing Brock Purdy and comparing Jalen Hurts, comparing the two, saying automatically Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Brock Purdy. I want to start with this because I think that that's all relative. I think that the whole franchise QB thing is way overblown. Way overblown. I think that people have, ever since Brady came along, people have expected every quarterback to be able to throw the ball 40 and 50 times with minimal interceptions. And if they can't, then they're not a franchise quarterback. Like I mean, a majority of the quarterbacks in this league, there is maybe two in the league right now that could live up to that standard. Everybody else needs help now. And and it's just sad that we look at quarterbacks as failures because their coaches can't figure out how to use them correctly and use them to their strengths. I think a lot of the time, these games, these quarterbacks are a victim of their offensive line. They could be in the wrongs. Like I said, the coaching just isn't putting him in the best position to succeed, basing it off of his strengths and weaknesses. I think that happens a lot. I think coaches are not really happy when they have to change up what they want to do, and they'll just throw the guy out there and let him fail, and then so that they can blame him. I'm not accusing any one team of doing that, but I think we see it all the time, and it's just when we're comparing Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts, and everybody's been saying Jalen Hurts is a system quarterback, right? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being a system quarterback. Like if you put Jalen Hurts and expected him to do what Tom Brady's going to do, you're going to fail. Like Nick Sirianni is tailored his offense to Jalen Hurts' strengths, which makes him look like an MVP candidate. It doesn't mean that he's not as good. He's not good because he can't do what Tom Brady does. That's not what that means. That means that because nobody, if you asked Brady to go and do what Jalen Hurts does, he couldn't do it, right? So it's really important when we look at these matchups and when we sit here and call guys franchise quarterbacks, and when we say that like the Danny Dimes and like the different guys aren't as good No, they just haven't found their niche yet. You saw this year with Danny Dimes. Let's use him as an example. This whole time we've called him a failure. And when I say we, I'm talking about the national media, the way he's been portrayed, even the fans to a point. They've been trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. Pause. But what we have to do is look at them from an objective lens and just look at it as Dable was the first guy to come in and take what Danny Dimes does well and make it work for the offense. To be honest, it makes the guys that came before him look really bad as coaches. Makes them look terrible as coaches, because when you bring a player in, like you're trying to win, which means you need to scheme it up however you need to scheme it up to put that person in a position to succeed. So it's when we get back to Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy, they're both system guys. Every quarterback in today's league is a system guy, because what necessarily works for one guy isn't going to work for another guy. So the whole system quarterback thing is a bunch of nonsense. It's a bunch of nonsense. You either have coaches that know how to put a quarterback in a place to succeed, or you don't. It's that simple. It's that simple. So when we look at the matchup and we look at Brock Purdy, look at what the kid does well. He does good with making pre-snap reads, trusting what he sees in front of him, and anticipating his throws with a pretty accurate throw in stride. Those are his strengths. He's got a little bit of athleticism to where he can get out and get away from trouble if need be. Now, with that being said, could he do what Jalen Hurts does? Absolutely not. But what does Jalen Hurts do well? He's an athletic freak that can run, that does great with the QB, the RPOs and the QB option plays. He's an extension of the run game. Plus, he can throw the ball accurately down the field. Now, could he do what Brock Purdy does in the Shanahan offense? Not right away. At least if you plugged him into the Shanahan offense, it might take him a little bit to understand what he's seeing. I don't know that that's his strength, making the pre-snap reads. I think that his offense on the Eagles kind of takes that out of his hands. And he doesn't have to do all that. But I might be wrong. I don't cover their team, so I haven't seen them all season to make that assumption. But what I would say is when we're looking at the two of these guys, they're both system guys. They're both running their coach's system to perfection right now. The best that either one has ever seen. Either coach, this is the best that Kyle's system has looked since Matt Ryan. Correct? I think we can all agree on that. So Brock's running this system at a high level. Jalen Hurts is definitely running the Eagles system at a high level. So yes, they're system guys. Who has the better opportunity to the question is who has the better opportunity to make their coach's system work today? And I would say I'm still going to say the same thing I've been saying all week. 49ers are good at stopping teams from running the ball. People want to go back to the Atlanta game because it's a similar kind of style. But if you really think about it, and hey, I appreciate you coming in, Damian. What's up? He says, "What's up, Peter Niner Faithful? Appreciate you coming in, brother. I know you're excited for the game. You're probably on everybody's show today, but yeah, when we think about, you just got to think about when we think about what makes Kyle's system go. It's much more conducive to beat good defenses than because the Eagles are going to do what the Eagles do, and the Eagles are going to try to run the ball. 49ers have been great at stopping the run, and people want to point to the last couple of games and that some guys have gotten off a little bit. The 49ers still haven't they haven't allowed a 70-yard rusher this year, which is just crazy to think of. But I would say in the last 10 games, it's because the 49ers have been getting leads, and at that certain point, you got to stop running. You got to stop running the ball. And that's going to be a key in this game. Because they've got to get them out of those run fits. It's going to be key for the 49ers to stop the run, and not just stop the run, but the offense has to do its job and score. So that's why I'm talking about Purdy in the beginning of the show, is because that's going to be the key. It's going to be him, because I think what Kyle doesn't just depend on matchups. It's not about matchups. That's not what his offense does. His offense is predicated around the rules of the defensive scheme that you're in. So it doesn't matter how great of a player you are, you're still stuck with the rules of your defense and your responsibilities in that defense. So, I mean, just look at it. You're going to have to look at it, and you're going to have certain keys that you're going to jump on, and that's when Kyle's offense is schemed to take advantage of. So I think it gives Purdy a lot bigger of a chance to get those big chunk plays. And now, with that being said, that's also predicated on the 49ers being able to run the ball, because what the Eagles do well, not only do they run the ball, but on defense, they're the best team in the league at pass pressure, or whatever the case is. However you want to look at it, they had 70 sacks. Like, they got 70 sacks. So when you're sitting there, you can't just be dropping back to pass and just thinking that Kyle's scheme is going to take care of it. No, you're going to have to run the ball. It doesn't matter if the run works or not, but you're going to have to be able to run the ball and commit to the run so that you can commit to the play action. It is going to be key for them to be able to commit to the run and go with play action, because that's what's going to give Brock time to take advantage of those chunk plays that Kyle's got schemed up. That is the way I'm looking at it. This is the only way. If you think you're going to drop back and pass against this defense, I think that is a huge mistake. Huge mistake. Because that's what this team wants you to do. So it'll be really interesting, because Kyle tends to, the last 3 games now, he has wanted to open up the game passing the ball, and which I still do not understand. But I'm not Kyle Shanahan. I'm not the coach of the 49ers. So with that being said, it's just going to be really key. It's going to be really key for the 49ers to run the ball and commit to it so that they can run play action off of it. You saw last game, the report was that it took McCaffrey and some other players to go to Kyle and say, hey, this outside zone isn't working. We're going to have to do something else. It's not going to work. So sometimes Kyle needs that person, somebody to tell him that something's not working. Hopefully somebody told him that this week. And then we don't have to worry about that. And he has sometimes the best plan is the obvious one. And we're still waiting on Kyle to do that kind of stuff, because quite frequently he wants to be the smartest person in the room. But it's just, it's winner take all. We're not in a regular season game where you can kind of just, we'll just try this today. We're not trying anything. We shouldn't be trying anything at this point, in my estimation. This game should be all about what do you do best against what I do best, and that's it. That's it. And so when we get to Purdy, when we start talking about Purdy, put Purdy in the right position, Kyle. Just do it. Put him in the right position. Get the running game, establish the running game, even if it's not working, so that you can run play action off of it. And likewise, against when we talk about a Jalen Hurts, what we should be talking about is, I'm selling out against the run, and they're going to have to beat me throwing the ball. They're just going to have to, in my mind. Now, they might think that they've been able to do it all season. And I mean, you have to agree with them. This is the number one defense. 49ers have the number one defense in the league. So I don't care if you don't think that they played anybody. This is the NFL. This is not, this is not college where you play a bunch of cream puffs all season. These are professional football players. If they can hold teams like they've been holding teams, that doesn't just go away because of who they played throughout the season. The Eagles didn't play anybody either. So they played the best team that I think that they played. I'm not gonna get into that because it doesn't matter. It's us against the Eagles right now. And the key to this game is going to be stopping the run on the 49ers, for the 49ers, and for the Eagles, the key for them is going to be stopping Brock Purdy getting chunk plays, because the run game, of course, they're going to have to stop the run game. It all starts with the run game. But at the same time, the big thing is not allowing Brock Purdy to get those chunk plays and not letting him get out of the pocket, because that's what takes this offense to the next level. And that's what has caused this offense to go to the next level. Everybody wants to give CMC all the credit, and I do give CMC credit, not because of the player that he is, as much as what it forced Kyle to do from a schematic standpoint and start drawing up throws to the running back, which he never used to do. I thought that that's been a huge part of opening up this offense and giving those quarterbacks an outlet. You saw it for Jimmy G when Jimmy G was playing. He was playing the best that he had ever played, because all of a sudden now he has an outlet. And that's a huge part of it. But what really opened up this offense was Brock Purdy coming in, making his pre-snap reads, like trusting what he sees and being able to capitalize on that, anticipating his throw, getting the ball to the open man. So it has been a hell of a ride watching the maturation of Brock Purdy, and I'm so excited for this game. I hope everybody else is. I know everybody. I saw a tweet from Jason Aponte earlier, basically telling people, don't watch any preview shows. I hope you guys watch this one, but yeah, don't watch any preview shows. It's all leading up today. No more talking. And I tend to agree with him. I'm doing the preview to give you guys the most up-to-date information as far as the injury report, which there really isn't much. But also, I did want to talk about that whole my whole thing about system quarterbacks and like all that kind of stuff, because I feel like that is at the very least, our fan base should understand like that's not a thing. It's not a thing. It's a narrative that ESPN and the national guys have created to like kind of discredit, just make it easy to say, oh, that guy just sucks. You're not taking into account his offensive line. You're not taking into account that he's not in the right scheme. So, but let's move on to the skill players, because all I've talked about is the quarterback so far, right? So Elijah Mitchell, it's a huge factor that he may not play in this game. Because when CMC is at his best is when he gets a breather. When he gets a breather and he gets a chance to take a rest on the sideline, and then you bring in Elijah Mitchell and he kind of just wears down that other defense. So it's going to be key for him, because CMC is not that big of a guy and he's not wearing teams down. Like Elijah Mitchell's going to break tackles. He's a bigger back, and he just runs with a lot of power and a lot of anger. So I would hope that he gets a chance to play, and the reason why because I could say that we have TDP and we have Jordan Mason, right? Kyle doesn't trust either one of them. So if Elijah Mitchell doesn't play, guess what's going to happen? CMC is going to get 35 plus carries today. That's what's going to happen. And so people need to be ready for that. I would be shocked if he got TDP or Jordan Mason in this game, if Elijah doesn't go. So that is super key to have Elijah Mitchell out on the field. And then you move on to the other skill players, and we're talking about Debo. Everybody wants to see. I saw a lot of people on Twitter this week saying that, this needs to be a Debo game. This needs to be a Debo game. Like, he needs to put his stamp on the playoffs. Debo doesn't have to do anything. I mean, I would love to see him get the ball. I don't care how they do it. I don't care if it's Juwan Jennings. I don't care if it is Brandon Ayuk. I don't care if it's Kittle. I don't care which one it is. I don't think that they have to do anything. I think what they've done a great job of is spreading the love around to keep the defense on its toes. They don't know they're not keying on any one single guy, which is what makes this team so lethal. I'd be perfectly fine if Debo got two touches, Kittle got 4 touches, and Ayuk got 5 or 6. I'd be perfectly fine. And then, but we still put up 30-something points. I'd be perfectly fine with it. Perfectly fine with it. I don't care how it gets done. I just want it done. And can Brock still keep that same mentality, or does he feel pressure to force the ball into certain guys at some point? And I'm just hoping he keeps the same mentality. With that being said, I mean, the Eagles are a good team. They're a good team. And this is going to be such a great game. I just really feel it's not going to be a blowout on either side. I would be shocked if it was a blowout on either side. But this game is really going to come down to is who blinks first, who executes the best, who has the least amount of penalties, who has the least amount of turnovers. It's all about execution. Every team is going to feel pressure to execute in this game. Every team is going to feel it. Every time there's a penalty, it's a body blow, because it's going to be up to both of these teams to keep this a clean game. And when I say a clean game, that means little to no penalties, and it's going to be up to them to get to no penalties, no turnovers. Like Brock has done a great job so far of that, and so has the Eagles overall have done a pretty good job at that also. So, and I'm looking at you, Ray. We cannot have anything on special teams today. Special teams cannot be the reason why the 49ers lost this game. Because honestly, it came pretty close last game. That was a close game, and it almost came down to a special teams play. Thankfully, the defense came through and kept them to a field goal. But that could have swung the momentum. Like, it could have swung it the other direction. And thankfully, our defense really played really well. So, Damian says it's Niners need to try a flea flicker to start the game. You know what? I don't care how it happens. I honestly, I would, in my mind, I want to see the 49ers run. I want to see 2 runs right out the gate. And then because you got to think about this when they're running the ball. Like, people always think about the passing game and the explosiveness of the passing game. Running the ball, on a bad carry, you're going to get 2 yards. Odds are you're probably going to get 2 or 3 yards. And if you can run the ball twice, get 4 or 5 yards, and then keep it to a 3rd and short or a 3rd and manageable, I would much rather do that than be 3rd and 10 because we decided to come out the gate firing. So I really think, I'm hoping that Kyle has that plan. And also, running the ball, it controls the clock, time of possession. You want to keep their offense off the field as much as possible. So, because if you can get defensive stops, first of all, it keeps your defense fresh. But then, by those long sustained drives, it keeps your defense fresh. And then at the same time, if your defense can get off the field and get a 3 and out, and then you start another long drive, like sustained drive, it just puts that much more pressure on the other team to come out of there. What did they do well? To try and catch up. So that's what the 49ers need. They need to execute, and they need to stay away from the penalties. But yeah, so I'm gonna cut this one a little short, just because we're all a little hyped up. We're all a little hyped up. We're all ready to go. It's been a lot of talk this week from Eagles fans and 49er fans alike. Um, I've tried to stay out of that just because I don't want I just can't. I can't. I'm not one of those people that can sit there and talk so much and then have it not go my way and and then have to apologize and like all that other kind of stuff. I just can't do it. But kudos to everybody that can. I like it hurts my heart. It hurts my heart too much. But with that being said, like we're gonna get out of here. But once again, you can catch this show, Niner Fanatic Podcast, on YouTube. You can catch it on Twitter. You can catch it on Facebook. You can get it if you don't want to look at my face so close up. You can catch it on anywhere. Like you get the audio version anywhere where you can get your audio podcast. That being said, I don't care where you get it. Just get it. And with that being said, we're gonna get out of here. But go Niners. Everybody enjoy the game, enjoy the intrigue. This is why we watch. This is why we fell in love with this sport. Is times like this. This is why. It's the not knowing and everybody's on the edge of their seat. The big plays, the historic the things that happen that we can look back on years from now and say that was a historic play. That was a key play in the game. Like just think about all the historic plays that have happened in the playoffs over the years of you watching football. This is why we watch. This is why we watch. So enjoy the nervousness. Enjoy your party, enjoy your family, enjoy watching the game. However you're watching, like enjoy it. Like this doesn't NFC Championships don't come that often. They don't come as if we've been blessed as 49er fans, but they do not come for a lot of teams. They don't come that often. Pause. And but enjoy it. Enjoy it. And I will see you guys after the game. We for sure, come hell or high water, win, lose, whatever. I will be here for you guys right not maybe not right after the game, but I will be here for you after later on today. So with that being said, hey, go Niners.